power rankings, God forbid, then we would factor more into what your schedule is. I don't care.
No one's raising their hand in the committee and being like, they've got the easiest schedule?
No.
They're going to win 13 games?
You think they're going to win 13
games?
Okay, so
13
so
games.
I think that's insane.
13 games.
And here's the other thing about the Niners. And listen, Kevin Wildes doesn't believe in Kyle Shanahan and his flat-brimmed hats. I do believe in Kyle Shanahan. But there's a few, sometimes I wish I was arguing on Wilde's behalf on some of the Shanahan stuff, because there is a very noteworthy anti-Kyle Shanahan point that you never bring up.
What is it?
So I give it to you. Every single year his teams have been good and made the playoffs, they have had a top 3 scoring defense or yards defense, and he's not the defensive guy. When the defense hasn't been elite, the team has been below 500 every time. And I do like Saleh.
And it's the health.
But I do not. I think this is the worst defensive personnel they've had since his first year there. The year that they traded for Jimmy midway through the year. Nick Bosa's very good when he's healthy, and Fred Warner's a future Hall of Famer. The entire secondary is new. They have remade the front 7 as well, aside from those 2 pieces. So I just don't think they're going to be able to rely on that defense, even with Saleh, who I think is obviously excellent at that. So I thought I was giving the Niners, who won 6 games with him, 6 or 7 games last year, benefit of the doubt. I've got them.
Like they didn't have injuries last year.
And this is we'll go around and around this. So then let's give it to Coach. You talk about them as if we're playing Madden and we're going to flick the injuries off. I think Brandon Ayuk, coming off a torn ACL, is not going to be the old Brandon Ayuk. I think Christian McCaffrey, who has suffered massive injuries in 3 of his 7 years, and last year had tendonitis spread to the other leg like a fungus, I think that guy is a bit of an injury risk.
Their run game is always pretty strong.
Okay, and so, that part is true. No, I thought I was nice to him. I have him above a great team like the Jags. Go ahead.
I love the fact that you brought a bonus beef into this.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that you add to each segment, it's really special.
Thank you, Coach.
But I will say, Nick, I have missed the tears. And
Thank you.
I think the committee does an outstanding job.
Thank you.
I don't know who chooses the category.
We always tell you it's Marshall.
Oh,
Is it Marshall?
Marshall,
yeah.
That's Marshall.
Marshall needs a raise.
He's the best.
However you compensate people, it needs,
U.S. Open team.
yeah, Marshall needs to get a little bit more than what he's getting.
Yeah.
But I thought for your first rattle out of the box, this is pretty good.
Okay.
Now I do have a problem with where you have Washington.
Wow.
You're back in?
Look, I was in last year. I know you hate Jaden Daniels.
I don't. That's take
You
it back.
never liked him one bit since it came out because he's too skinny.
I don't like skinny athletes.
Yes,
it's the theme of today's show.
Yeah.
From
And
Chet
Kevin
to
Durant's pretty
Jaden,
skinny.
I don't
He
like.
doesn't like Chet. He doesn't like Jaden. I get it.
Wimby.
And
They scare me.
Skinny Luka.
and it was
Skinny
justified.
Luka, exactly
That's why
right.
I
Go
like
ahead.
him.
Your fears were absolutely justified last season by how poorly he played.
When's the one time he had a bit of a slump?
Hopefully now
Cracked ribs.
he's put on a little bit of weight.
Yeah.
I am a little bit gun shy based off of my experience last year with CJ. They're following a very similar pattern where they went out and got the free agents in Tunsil and then
Debo.
with Debo.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that they complemented Tunsil with another first-round draft pick at offensive tackle, so they're solidify the offensive line.
I
They
like
go
that
get
too.
another weapon for Jaden, and I'm assuming that he's going to continue to move forward as opposed to what we saw with CJ last year, where
That's
CJ
all-
did take a little bit of a step back, and you could easily put him in the tier above. Because with Detroit, you lose both coordinators. There should be an effect there.
Yeah.
And I know you love the Rams,
true.
and I know you love Stafford, and I like Stafford a lot too. But you can easily put Washington in that same tier.
I understand that. This is where, you and I have been talking football together for so long.
It has been a long time.
It's a long time. Every once in a while, Coach, more than every once in a while, I say something, and I'm like, I sound like Coach Mangini. I'm like and it's
Nice
usually
to
one of
hear.
the smarter things I say. I would do that. But every once in a while, you have a take. And I'm like, this guy's been hanging out with me. Like the young quarterback who had the amazing rookie year, whose team spent the offseason upgrading his side of the ball when the defense last year was not good and now goes into next year with similar questions would not be 2018 Coach Mangini would not have been on Washington.
I do have a soft spot for Dan Quinn.
Yes, that's true.
So he was my defensive line coach in New York. I have a lot of confidence in his ability to improve the defense.
I agree.
And I think that happens a lot of times with head coaches who have a specialty. You're willing to put more resources on the other side of the ball because you have a confidence that you can fix the problems on your side of the ball.
I'm going to throw a curveball for mine.
Nice.
Really?
Yes. What I think makes this show, I won't compare it to other shows. What we try to do on the show is be steadfast in our opinions, but malleable enough that if you make a good point, you can change our mind. Otherwise, it's just constantly, going nowhere.
Yeah.
So I originally had the Eagles as the #1 team until they lose a game. Because they're the Super Bowl champs and they are on one heck of a run. In September, they were 2-2, but from October to February, they went 16-1. The point per game differential, which I always am a fan of, they were +14. Turnover differential, they were +29. Their only loss was that Commanders game where Jalen Hurts got hurt. Then I thought about it. I said, do they deserve to be at the top of the tiers in a new year, especially with the way the Super Bowl ended?
I hate this guy. I gotta tell you,
the game doesn't end when you're covered in Gatorade.
No.
The game goes the whole way.
You got to play through.
After this moment, the Eagles took their foot off the gas. The Eagles gave up 16 points to the Chiefs in the final 3 minutes to make that a moderately respectful game. Is that the heart of a champion?
Nope.
Oh.
I don't remember another team giving up 16 points in the final 247. So I think you're right. I think they have for most of I was thinking Eagles. Then all of a sudden, those final 3 minutes, that Super Bowl belonged to the Chiefs.
Yep.
If you play that game again,
well, that part
final
might be
3
true.
minutes.
Well, not the final 3 minutes.
Holy cow,
play that game 100 times. And is there a single game the Eagles play better and the single game the Chiefs play worse? The answer
now,
is
granted,
no.
in the first
but that's
half,
not how it works.
Mahomes had
That's
more
not how
yards
it
to
works.
Cooper DeJean than his own teammates, but still, that final 3 minutes, I saw something.
Yeah.
So I agree with you,
Wow.
and that's what makes our show unique and special. Coming up next,
Well
That's
done.
a great take one.
why you have to be malleable.
Because the Chiefs were good after that.
They were unbelievable.
Gatorade shower.
That inspired them.
It
They're like,
did.
you know what? Not on our watch. We're not going to lose by 40 points.
Zepbound means